Hello YouTube, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Rock, Dust, and Magic, and I have a brand new video for you guys today. So, if you remember, about a year and a half ago, I did a video, or I started a video series called the BioBag Experiment. And for those of you who have either forgotten about it or don't remember what it was an experiment on a plastic bag which was marketed as biodegradable to see if it would biodegrade in 3 different environmental settings. One was fresh water, one was mud, and one was salt water, and today we are going to be looking at all 3 of those, and I will put those right here. Alright, so here they are. So this is the salt water, this is the fresh water, and then this is the mud. And also, if you notice, these jars do have access to oxygen, so it is aerobic respiration that would be going on with the bacteria and other microbes inside. So let's start with this jar, and I'm going to go grab some rubber gloves. I will be right back. Alright, so here we go. So now I have some rubber gloves on, if you can see that, and this is just a little makeshift table that I use for, dissections or experiments. It's just the lid of a 2-gallon aquarium. You don't have to have that. Just a smooth surface that you can clean off easily. So yeah, let's get started. So this is the bag. Cut a large portion of this off. And if you notice, it is still really firm. Alright. Compared to, it's still really firm. So, not much has really changed in that sense. And I think I have noticed maybe a little bit of pigment loss, but, I'm not 100% sure. It doesn't look like too much has really happened here. I mean, it's not really soft. It doesn't feel much different than it did before. It's wet, so it does feel a little different, but just the fact that it's wet can be a possible contributor to that. It is more brittle. I have noticed that. Now, you might not be able to see this, but there is actually a worm right here that was just squiggling, writhing around, and it actually looks like it is inside the plastic. And I am not sure what that is. Let's go to the microscope. We'll look at this under the microscope right now. Alright, so this is a microscope, and as you can see, it may be hard to realize, but we are looking at the plastic. It looks really clear, and that is because the pigment is being eaten away. And these colonies right here, if you'll notice that there are some little specks swimming around there. These are colonies of detritus and bacteria. So there are definitely microbes eating away at this piece of plastic. And if you notice, that's not the only colony. There are many others, and that orangish, yellowish collection of dots there in the center, those are bacteria and bacterial colonies. So this is actually quite interesting. I did not expect this in looking at this piece of plastic. I thought there would be more of a greenish hue, but it looks like a lot of the pigment has been eaten away. What is that? Okay. So this could be some sort of worms, maybe in the annelid family. I'm not sure. It doesn't appear to be moving. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's alive. I don't know. But let's move on. So here you can see all these like dots. Those are bacteria. Those look like bacillus and cockeye bacteria. So there's definitely biological diversity on this piece of plastic. Not an incredible amount from what I'm seeing, but it definitely looks like there is a micro ecosystem on here. I'm just trying to find another place to look. So you can definitely see bacteria, that's for sure. But so that was the fresh water. Next we're going to be moving into the salt water, and we're going to see how that has been doing. So probably the most important thing you can do is make sure to wash off your cleaning table and your utensils very well. If you have isopropyl alcohol, use that. Make sure to rinse it off each time so you don't get any contamination in your tests. So next we're going to be going into the saltwater sample. So the freshwater was actually quite interesting, as we discussed in under the microscope. Let's go into the salt water now. And so if you notice, a lot of water has evaporated, and I haven't added in any water into this. I have in that and the mud, but so this is all the same water and sand from before. Okay, alright, okay. So this actually looks like some degradation has occurred. Oh wow, and if you notice, that cut a lot easier than the other one did. There they are. So let's spread this out on the table. And you really want to make sure that you have a nice surface to do this on. Oh, okay. Now, if you notice, you may not be able to see, but there's a hole right here. And I'm not sure if that was from me pulling it out or what, but there is an obvious difference in the texture of this compared to how it was a year ago. It's much softer. It can be, cut more easily, and it looks a lot clearer. Pigment has definitely gone in this sample, that's for sure. So as for like anything like the freshwater where we saw a worm, just from looking at it on the table, I don't see anything like that here, just from looking at it, but let's put it under the microscope and see what we have. Alright, so this is the piece of plastic bag under the microscope, and this is the salt water. So, as you can see, it doesn't look actually that much different from the fresh water. It could be a little clearer, maybe in pigment. I'm not really noticing, though, that much of a difference. If anything, it looks like there's less material on the plastic, in my opinion. If you guys think differently, make sure to leave it in the comments down below. I try and read all of your comments. But what we do see is, we definitely do see bacterial colonies, and all the bacterial colonies are basically these clumps of brownish material. Those are bacterial colonies, along with just plain detritus. So it doesn't seem like there's that much there, and it is understandable. There isn't a lot of nutrients in the sample itself, which can definitely be a factor in degradation of a material. But it is good to know that there are at least some bacterial colonies here, and we can see small amounts of biodegradation here. You know, it's clearer than it was before, and we do see more bacterial colonies. And don't mind those large, big, black objects. That's just sand. I got some sand in the sample. So I'm just looking around, and yeah, I don't see anything out of the ordinary or anything extraordinary here. So I think we'll call it good here, and let's move on to our last jar, which is the mud. So I'll see you there. I'm really interested about this one. This one is actually the first one that I've noticed extreme visible signs of degradation. There's actually been mold growing on part of the bag itself, which is very, very intriguing. So let's, take a look. Oh yeah, alright, yeah, so looks like that. I'm not sure if you can see that, I hope you can, but it is brown and tarnished. Oh wow, yeah, this is great. This looks like there's been some serious breakdown in the structure. Let's cut a little bit off. There we go. Alright, that down. Oh wow, okay. Definitely. This looks like this one is undergoing the most degradation. I hope you can see that. So, if you see all the yellowish brown right there, that is degradation. Most likely it's bacterial colonies growing on the plastic itself, and this is actually pretty incredible. It looks like this is it's brittle, which is quite interesting. It's not as soft as the salt water, but it has undergone probably the largest pigment loss out of all of the other samples. It has gone through a massive loss of pigments, and I am excited to put this sample under the microscope, so let's go and do that right now. So this is actually really exciting. This is really cool. So if you notice all these big lines right down the middle of the plastic right there, those are actually fungal filaments, and it may be hard to see or to picture, but those fungal filaments are actually growing in the plastic itself, and it's pretty cool because if you can see, those fibers are just spreading out all over the place throughout the plastic. And let's actually move around right here and see if it continues, because that's really, really interesting. Let's see here. So there's the other side, and that's underneath the plastic too. So let's move around and see if we can see any more. Focus. Oh yeah. Oh wow. Look at that. So if you notice, you can see those lines everywhere. Those are all fungal filaments again, and it's literally like the branches, a network of branches in a tree. That is amazing. And my guess is that these filaments are spreading out through the plastic to break it down from the inside, which is probably one reason why all the pigment is gone. And they're just probably trying to revert the plastic back to its original ingredients that made it up, get those raw minerals. This is pretty cool. Now, I don't know how they make biodegradable plastic,
but it seems like, at least in this muddy environment, it's really spurring on the growth of this mold. And so my guess is that the brownish yellow color that we saw on the sample from the outside, my guess is that that is caused by these filaments, these fungus, are giving it a yellowish tint, along with probably some bacteria too. So I have to say that out of all of the plastic samples, this is the most biologically active. Oh, so if you can't see that, in the left corner there's a little worm wriggling around. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Oh, that looked like maybe a paramuseum that went by. I'm not 100% sure. But, so, yeah, it seems like this is definitely the most biologically active, and if anything, this definitely demonstrates that, yes, the bag is biodegradable. To what degree, you know, I'm not sure. It will definitely take a long time before this bag is completely broken down, but, from what we see here, it is definitely on the path to being, completely degraded. So, I'm gonna call it good right here for this last microscope clip, and I will see you all right after this.
So that was the mud sample under the microscope. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. And I thought that out of all of them definitely demonstrated how the bags are biodegradable, especially where we saw the fungal root system just like spread out through all the way down through the plastic. It was really incredible in my opinion anyway. So the question is whether or not this is practical, and I think it is. Definitely having biodegradable plastic is better over non-biodegradable plastic. However, it will take a long time. I do not think that even in the best conditions, you know, for in terms of microbial abundance, I do not think it break down as quick as, let's say, a paper bag will. A paper bag will break down in about 80 days. I mean, the plastic is still in good condition, relatively, and it's been about a year and a half. So it's definitely been a long time, and despite the fact that I haven't been simulating wave action with like the salt water and the fresh water, I still think that it would take a very long time before the bag would be out of the environment. And that is still not to mention, well, how would it break down in a desert-like environment? So those are still questions that I think need to be answered, and I do think more research needs to be gone into this, and maybe we can even make these biodegradable bags biodegrade even faster. So I hope you guys enjoyed this series. I know I had a great time doing it, and stay tuned for next week because I'm going to be doing a dissection next week. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and as always, live green. Thanks for watching.